Republicans are turning on the one person most responsible for Donald Trump's poor showing at this week's debate, Laura Loomer. Did you think I was going to say Donald Trump? They're definitely not blaming him. But Laura Loomer is facing some attacks. Marjorie Greene in particular is coming for her hard, tweeting like fairly vicious things for her about Laura Loomer. And obviously Laura Loomer deserves every bit of it. So I'm Team Marge, I think.
A storm is tearing up the digital media industry. Only our audience can save us in these difficult times. Help us reach our goal of 100,000 new members at tyt.com/team.
That feels weird. Marjorie, are you watching? We're allies right now, very briefly. But anyway, for context, Laura Loomer was part of Trump's debate team, seen getting off his plane for the debate. He had Laura Loomer with him beforehand. Like, I know that there's a lot of crazies out there. Marjorie Greene is one of them. But is Laura Loomer not one of those who's crossed over into even the crazies have to admit that she's out of her mind? No, she's still cool. Well, anyway, what wasn't cool from the point of view of the right wing was the effect that she might have had on Donald Trump before the debate, because Axios has reported on Thursday that Loomer had been apparently egging him on during the flight after his other advisors urged caution and tried to convince Trump to stick to messages on key voter concerns like the economy, instead of pushing old grievances like the big lie and sharing easily debunked conspiracies such as Haitian immigrants eating people's pets. Well, I wonder how that worked out in the end, Loomer's advice. But anyway, she got what she wanted, at least in terms of the debate. I don't know if electorally it's going to be what she wants. And so here is Greene's broadside against Loomer following that. So she posted a message from 4 days ago that Laura Loomer had posted that said, if Kamala Harris wins, the White House will smell like curry and White House speeches will be facilitated via a call center, and the American people will only be able to convey their feedback through a customer satisfaction survey at the end of the call that nobody will understand. Okay, so I think I'm understanding this. So it's gonna smell like stinky foreign food, and she's gonna have a call center because that's the only industry that Indians or Indian Americans can ever have, obviously. And also nobody understands how they speak. So I think it's racism. I think it's a dab, a little dash, an amuse-bouche of racism. And Marjorie Taylor Greene is not gonna stand for racism in this very specific instance in which she doesn't like Laura Loomer and wants to take her down. So she says this is appalling and extremely racist, which is true. And for once it bothers Marjorie Greene. Hey, I thought people just called other people racist to unfairly take them down, Marge. I don't think our allyship is gonna work, by the way. But anyway, she goes on to say, it does not represent who we are as American or as Republicans or MAGA. That part is not true. This does not represent President Trump. This type of behavior should not be tolerated ever. Laura Loomer should take this down. That part is true. But here, we're gonna get to Laura Loomer's response to it, which I think is one of the funniest things I've read on Twitter. But first, here's a little bit of video. I think this is Marjorie Greene talking to reporters about this.
This is such an important election. I don't think that she has the experience or the right mentality to advise a very important president.
Why do you think the former president is even listening to her?
Do you think she's getting bad advice, or he's getting bad advice from her?
I'm not involved in their conversations, so I can't weigh in on that. But I do know this, that her rhetoric and her tone does not match the base, does not match MAGA, does not match most Republicans I know. And I'm completely denouncing it. I'm over it. And I would encourage anyone else that matches her statements to stop.
I think it's so funny that in this story, you have two elements of what Loomer is doing. So it's bad self-destructive advice for Donald Trump, who hardly needs it. He was gonna do a lot of that himself, and racism. And the racism is bad, but it's because of this. That's the only reason that makes it bad. Do you think she'd be calling out Laura Loomer if it wasn't for the bad advice? Or let's keep it real, not even the bad advice, but that she's in close proximity to provide the advice. She's talking to Trump, perhaps more than Marge is. This isn't about the racism would not be nearly enough to bother Marge by itself. That's my speculation, but I think this is more about a power struggle. And Loomer apparently might be winning the power struggle because she went to a 9/11 event with Donald Trump. So after the debate, he wasn't mad at her. He took her to a 9/11. She said it was an inside job, by the way. And he took her there. which, I mean, if you wanted to take this sort of like sacred event, the sacred site, and spit all over it, that's one way to do that. But let's end with this. This is Laura Loomer responding to Marjorie Greene's attack. So once again, Marjorie Greene, who is extremely jealous and vindictive over the fact that she wasn't successful in turning down Trump against me, is now behaving like a leftist and accusing me of being racist. And I love that she is going to attempt to defend that tweet we showed you before as not being racist. And here's her defense, and it's probably gonna be good, because I think she's a smart cookie. She says Kamala Harris is on video calling herself Indian and saying she capital C cooks with curry. Okay, I know that you think that's a clever retort. She's not on video calling herself Indian. She is Indian American. It's a fact. I think it's so weird that you guys constantly talk about people claiming that. No, she just is. That's what she is. And yes, I think that she probably has cooked with curry. And that does not mean that you saying our precious white house is gonna smell like curry is not a racist thing. It is. It is. If I was to go on like a 20-minute rant about how the first Italian president's gonna make the whole place reek of garlic, it might be true on some level. That doesn't make it not bigoted, you little weirdo. It's super racist, and you know that. That's why you sent it out. What's the alternative explanation? That she sent out the tweet because she was worried about the air quality inside of the White House? It was purely and exclusively to attack her in a racist fashion. But that was just the curry thing. She also refuses to speak to the media. So there's a strong likelihood that she would set up a call center to avoid speaking to the press and being honest with the American people. Is that good? That explain it? That explain the second one about the calls? It's because she didn't talk. That's what it is. Not a racist trope at all. It's that. And so, hey MTG, speaking of racism, one of your former staffers told me you have a favorite word that starts with N. What if the staffer has a video? Now look, here's the thing. Do I find it plausible that Representative Greene has used the N-word? Yes, I do. Does that mean that I trust that Laura Loomer actually spoke to a former staffer and was told that, or that she actually has a video? No, I don't trust Laura. I mean, I don't trust Marjorie Greene, but I probably trust Laura Loomer actually less. But here's what is safe to say. They're both racist because they're all racist. That's what it actually is. And so in this civil war, if there is any way for them both to lose, please let that be what happens. Members make a difference here at TYT. You help make the show happen, and we see you in the chat with your loyalty badge. Click the join button to become a member today.